There's nowhere like home. That's the interpretation of the song this morning, right here on 99.3 RBS Radio. And this is Rivercess for Change. It comes your way Monday to Friday. I present from Monday to Wednesday, and the team take over from Thursday to Friday. This morning, like I promised, I will have in studio the it's daughter of Nima in Rivercess County. She's Madam Edith Gonglo-Wleh. As you may follow the Nima senatorial by-elections, she was one of those that participated in the elections. And of course, it's an opportunity to have her in studio this morning here in Rivercess to talk much about national, local, and some other major issues across the country. Good morning, Madam Gonglo.
Good morning, Matusalas. Good morning, the people of Rivercess. Be moyo, be moye, abliyo me. Good morning, Mao, nane you. That is my basso correct?
Yes.
Okay, correct.
I know you will do more, but it's wonderful. So welcome to the studio.
Thank you so much for having me in your studio this morning. This is my second time on this station. I believe way back I came to Rivercess again to visit with my late mother-in-law at the time, and I was on this station, and so I'm glad to be back. Everywhere in Liberia feels like home, and Rivercess is no exception. And precisely Rivercess is home because this is where my husband comes from, Mr. Mason Ware, who is in the States. And so every now and then I try to come and visit with the family here. And so I'm glad to be here this morning. And like you said in your intro, we're going to be discussing national, regional, and local issues. And so you will take the lead as the journalist behind the microphone.
Yes.
You got all the big questions, the hard, the simple, and the difficult. So I'm your guest this morning, but I just want to say to the women of Rivercess and the young people of Rivercess, all over Liberia and all over Africa, there is something new that is happening. The young people of Africa in other African countries, and Liberia is no exception, are taking the lead along with the women to set the stage and standard and change their environment and change their political culture. And so this morning, I would like to speak to some of that, speak to the young people of Rivercess, speak to the women of Rivercess, so that we work together, looking at the very immediate and far future of Rivercess as a county, which is a subset of Liberia. If Liberia must move forward, we have to move our individual counties forward, and collectively the country can move forward. So I'm looking to a very inspiring discussion this morning. I'm looking to an engaging discussion this morning, hopefully to also engage with the public, engage with the young people and the women, and of course the older folks. But the older folks serve as guidance. The people who do the leg work are the young people and the women. And so yes, thank you for having me on your show this morning.
Yes, I know you want to go into the discussion. You already started, but I will take you back to us. Have you taken your fufu, the palm butter? Because it's just one good thing that when somebody come to Rivercess and you take it.
My sister-in-law anywhere knows that deal so well. When she knew I was coming yesterday, she had my fufu, with the dudu one side. And then she had the rice. I told the children that came with me, my children, I said, look, the rice for y'all, but the fufu, is for me. And then, with my little salt and the pepper and all that, she prepared, and I had a place. So yes, I had my fufu yesterday, but this morning, I'm used to my little herbal thing then, so luckily, there's moringa tree behind our house. And so I said, you know what? She said, I'm going to make you some Lipton tea. I said, no, that Lipton tea, I don't know where the process is. I want the moringa tree that over there, just boil the water, throw my leaves in it, And so yes, I had my moringa tea this morning. Of course, anywhere when you were anywhere, you just can't go wrong. The woman is just such a great, hospitable host, and so and of course me and Astrid Damantown. So yes, this morning I went a quee route, but a quee mixed with country Malay moringa tea, and she made a little light bread. So yes, I've had breakfast. The dumber, will be waiting. That one at lunch.
That one.
Eh.
That one when you swallow it, you go back.
Oh no, they aren't rich Rivercess. Why? And they got to put some, boning and sea crab and all that stuff, and they make it look real delicious.
Okay, so let's go for business. What is the excitement since yesterday you arrived in Rivercess? Did you see some change? Yes.
Well, in terms of the environment, yes. Rivercess, like all of Liberia, there are little changes taking place infrastructurally. People are building now in their hometowns. So I see some new structures in Rivercess. That's a change. Even in Razon, where we come from, because my husband is from Razon. I see some level of community development there. I had the opportunity to meet with the community people last night during their community meeting, and I did speak to the people. And one of the things that I saw in Rivercess that I think it presents an opportunity. It has always been there, but sometimes something can be right in your face and you don't see it. Rivercess seems to have a very fertile soil, and I see that. I'm not an agronomist or whatever, but when you look at the forest, the topography, it green. I mean, you can really see the fertility of the soil in what is grown. The planting, they all look so well nourished. The cassava and all that. And I saw few cocoa trees. And they really look rich. And cocoa right now is like the diamond mine of Africa. Study shows that in the next 100 years, cocoa will continue to make money. Right now, a ton of cocoa in Liberia is anywhere from 7,000 upward US dollars. And a ton of cocoa is just about 4 of those mega bags. The one called Balawala bags. 4 of it makes a ton. So I was telling the young people last night, we had a very good meeting last night, that use what is available to you to uplift your life. What do you have? Local material, what is accessible to you that you don't have to pay money for? So you have a fertile land. All it takes is the physical strength and the mind, the change of mind. I've always told people, life without goal is a dead life to live. There's a book I read way back, and it says that.
Do you mean G-O-A-L?
G-O-A-L, without goal. Like, you have to plan, like without plan. Let me say, life without plan. That you just live on daybreak, you eat, then night come, you sleep, then the next day, while we eat today, then. No. You have to have a plan. Like, this is what I want to be. Envision something and say, this is what I want. And when you envision that thing, the brain is so phenomenal. It's huge. It's large. You just need to put your will. And when your brain gets the signal that your mind desires this, you'll be amazed to see the opportunities that will open onto you. Sometimes it's right before you, but because you nudge your brain a little bit, you juggle your mind a little bit, it opens up, and the reality just show right there that this is what I can do. So all I'm saying is, let's use what is available. We have the soil available is rich. You want to do a little bit of cash crop and a little bit of food crop, the one you can eat. So you don't forget your cassava, don't forget your rice, because what is coming from out. Have you wondered why people dying so much in Liberia? Sometimes it bothers me. I'm not sure people die like that in other countries. I was asking some Guineans because Nema County is right there next to Guinea. I had gone to Sirikule one time and I see the people looking happy, look nourished. And I asked one motorcyclist, do people die here like the way, because in my country it's almost like every town are 2-3 body every week or so. He said, no, it's not like that here. Then people die here, but the frequency varies. So then it brings me to the question of what is killing us. It's not just the lack of good Medicare and all of that. Sometimes it's the nutrition. What are we eating? I mean, Rivercess Pie is an exception. Okay, at least thank God Rivercess is blessed. You got the ocean here. So the way people can die in the mountain, they die in here. The mountain pie, they just open a grave. Our people can just die because they bring in all this toxic stuff. There's imported chicken. You know what kind of chemical they pour on it to preserve it before it reach us. The imported pigs, the hog meat. All the kind of stuff, the cow meat, then they got cow tongue, all that. We don't know what they put on it. They put chemicals. And we are eating that chemical. The Vita, the different chicken soup. What some when you put it in the soup, I'm told it can foam. That foam, what does it represent? So there needs to be some sort of study on the food that coming from out that we eating here. And that's why I tell people, Lord, eat what we can grow. This morning I told my sister-in-law, me boil my moringa tea because I see the tree right here.
Yes.
They spray nothing on it. You just boil my water, you put my moringa leaf inside. I don't eat sugar, but I put my little natural honey to sweeten it. So I'm just saying that in a nutshell, we had a meeting and I want to encourage the young people to go back to the soil. It will help a lot.
You
get
speak
money.
like you have plan for that.
Well, I have plans if the people are willing. Like I told my young people and the women and the citizens last night. And somebody put it rightly. They say when you ask someone to wash your back, then it means you're washing your stomach. One concept that I believe in is participatory work, where everybody put their hand together. It's collaboration. And what we can have, the thing they call the self-help. So everybody in the community put together and say, this is what we want, and they work towards it. All I can do is to inspire the young people and the women and the citizens if they're willing. I want to hear calls like, I don't want people to say, we want you to help us build our this. But you can say, well, we are building this. We've raised this much money. We've made the local resources that are available or local materials that are available. We got it. But maybe we need some addition to the small money we are raised to buy our zinc, for instance, that kind of thing. We need money to add up to buy our steel. Then I know, because when you build like that, you respect it. You will preserve it. You will help to maintain it because you know your sweat is in it. Your money is in it. Your time is in it. Time is money. You took your time to go in the bush and cut the sticks. You took your time to gather the sand and the rocks to build. You took your time, if you're missing, to help to lay the bricks. So when something is happening to it, you will help to maintain it because your sweat is in it. What is done for you 100% is not their money. So because it's not their money, they don't respect it. So yes, I'm willing to work with the citizens of Rivercess because this is our county. But I want to see the enthusiasm. I want to see the passion because nothing moves without passion. Methuselah, you are sitting behind the microphone because you had the passion for radio, for broadcasting. It is that passion that has brought you to this level. If you didn't have it, I'm sure nobody just pick you up and say, can't go to the radio station. You dream about it. You wanted to be an announcer. You wanted to be a communicator. You wanted to be able to do mass production where you talk and people hear you everywhere. You dreamed it, and because you dream it, you work at it, and today you are here. That's all I want to see, so that we can move this country forward. It's not those what's happening in Burkina Faso. A young man, probably your age, because he's 37 this year, but when he took over, he was like 35. Young baby boy, born 19, I think maybe 88 or 89, baby boy. But he had the education, and more than that, he had the training. A training and a culture of nationalism and patriotism. So he took over, but hold on one second. Let me put this on silence. No, but just put it on silence.
Yes.
Okay. I'm sorry for that interruption.
No
because when you put it on silence, you can reject it. But then, hold on. Let me do a short period of time in Burkina Faso. Because he's selfless. Some of the things that we have to look at is, do we have selfless leaders in Rivercess, in Liberia? When you're selfless, you don't look at you. You look outside of you. So Ibrahim Traore is looking outside of himself. This is the man who said he doesn't care about carrying fleets of cars, but using that money for the betterment of his people. How is the healthcare delivery system? So he naturalized their mineral resources, their gold, and said we will mine our own gold and sell. So now the boy is making billions where France used to give him millions. Rivercess is rich. Is rich in gold. Is rich in water. Look at the ocean. This can be a tourist site. But you have to have the far-sighted and innovative leadership to see it. We travel around the world. People are making millions just because God put the ocean near them. There's a country called Dominican Republic. Their only natural resource that the ocean. And then they plant sugar cane. So they produce sugar. The only export they have in there is sugar. They produce sugar from sugar cane. They got sugar cane plantation. And then they do cocoa because I want their cocoa farms and all that. They make tons of money. They do their cocoa and produce their own cocoa, what you call that in the cocoa dust, we can sometimes drink it for tea, right? Chocolate, hot chocolate. Yes. They produce their there and they export it. So from their farm, they do some local production. I was surprised to see them patch the cocoa and beating it in mortar. That one local, then the local people buy it. So they don't import tea and import cocoa dust because they don't know what the points are. But they export. But they use the ocean, they build resorts all along the ocean for tourism. All the people there working. In the morning, you see tons of people in their uniform going to different hotels because tourists are coming from all over the world. I went there from America on vacation for 1 week, and we spent over $5,000 just to go sightseeing, US dollars. That's how the country survives. It has now moved from a poor country to a middle income country. A country that ain't get gold and diamond and iron ore like us. So I'm just saying that what I'm saying in a nutshell is Liberia is rich, but we're not utilizing our wealth. Partly because we are not, I guess our leaders have not moved from the old colonial order of doing things to something more innovative, something new. And they say experience is the best teacher, but it's not every experience that has to be your experience. So you can learn from other people's experience. Look around and see how others have succeeded and they're succeeding.
So I will hold you there. Let's take a look at the national scene a bit.
Thank you.
Especially the present day economy of this country. If you are asked to give a view on that, what will be your view?
So I don't like to venture into territories that I have not much knowledge of. And what I'm going to do here is just like
The entire country.
road talking, because it's not. I'm not an economist,
Yes.
but what I can say from a layman knowledge is precisely what I've been talking about. Is our economy doing well? Certainly not. Some people will say yes, but what is the barometer? What is the measurement you use to know whether you're doing well? That when your people are not going to bed hungry, when your people having access to education and quality education, there are some very important functions of government. Government are formed for the good of the people, for their welfare, for their happiness. And what is their welfare and happiness? What does it entail? One of government's primary function is to ensure that every citizen has access to education. It is a right. It's not a privilege. I was coming this morning, I saw a young boy. He looks like around 15 or 16. And I said, are you not going to school? He said, I'm not in school. I said, why? Mom, I'm waiting for my mom in Monrovia. I said, what grade you in? Have you been to school before? He said, I've never been to school. That is an abuse of that child's right. That child has the right. It is the responsibility of government to ensure that every child is not left behind. They have the right to education. Education should not be left to parents. It's not a privilege.
Free schools are all over the place.
So where is the enforcement? Where is the enforcement? So free schools are all over the place. In serious country, there are laws that every child from this to 18 must be in school. If you have free education, free primary education, and it's really free, because we got to now define what free education is. Not free education where you pay fees, then you got to buy everything, and you got to pay for textbooks, you got to pay for this, and it's no longer free. It's not free education. Maybe it is subsidized education. Some things are free, some are not free. You're paying test fees and all of that, so it's not free. But let's assume even with that subsidized educational system that we have here, my term is not a government term. I am terming it subsidized education because they say free, but as long as everything is not free, you still pay examination fee, you got to pay wire fee, you got to pay this fee, you got to pay test fee, you got to give money for graduation fee, all that kind of thing. That is no longer really free, so it's subsidized. Even with a subsidized system, what are the rules to play this educational game? What are the responsibilities of parents? That government say, if your child not going to school, this will happen. Because it's so free that your child should not be out of school. So where is the where are the boundaries? To say every parent that has a child going child that is not in school, you will be fined this for not sending your child to school. Every parent will send their child to school because they don't want to pay the fine. And government may ensure that it happens. So you can have free education all you want, but you leave it lawless and nothing happens. So it brings me to my second point of health care. It is the responsibility of the government to ensure that there is accessible health care delivery for the citizens. It is one of the bounding duties of the government. So health, education, agriculture, feeding your citizens. No country is free when you can't feed yourself. Methuselah, have you heard the saying that the hand that feeds you controls you? Right? The hand that feeds you controls you. So as long as we're being fed, if anybody won't get rid of all of us here in Liberia, they can get rid of us in a second. Because all our rice that we eat come from out of the country. The thing we put inside our system comes from out of the country. And I don't know whether there's standard lab at the Ministry of Commerce to test the food that come in this country to make sure it's safe for human consumption. I don't know if we have it. If we have it, is it effective? Are they doing what they're supposed to do? Do we have a standard evaluation system to evaluate every drug that we take in this country? If we have, and I believe we have, but is it effective? Because there are lots of fake drugs that are killing people. It's not only Liberia. They almost like the fake pharmaceutical individuals have waged war on sub-Saharan Africa. But in other countries, they have a system to track. And I think Liberia has that. They're trying, let me say this, because a week ago, they arrested a bunch of fake drugs. Plenty that we're bringing here. Some are it toxic, it can kill people. But you're taking it, you're sick, and you think you're taking medicine, but what you're taking in is a toxin that will end your life. You don't know it, I don't blame you. Because all you know, you're sick, and doctor say that the medicine will help to heal you. You go buy it. So it is the responsibility of the government to make sure that the medicine that coming in this country for consumption, it is the right medication. It's the right medicine. So there are many things that government will do to help to improve our economy that I think not just this government, successive Liberian governments have dropped the ball on securing the welfare of their citizens. Is the economy good? The economists might say good, but I, from a layman's sense, I say not good because US now, that 200, $1 US dollars to 200 Liberian dollars. With the poor income earning capacity of Liberians as it stands right now, where we are not getting the foreign dollars like that because we're not exporting a lot. Hopefully it will change when we start to export, more. I don't know when that will be, but again, that's a wishful thinking. Hopefully we begin to export more and then we get more foreign exchange coming in and it helps to drop the US rate. But right now, 200 to $1 US dollars. That means that business people will increase their prices because they must get more Liberian dollars from you so they can change the money to be able to import more or buy more to sell. Since we are an import country, we don't export, we import everything until it God even allow people to buy the air we breathe, we import the air off. So say we importing everything and we need the US dollars, prices keep climbing up. Okay. So for me, in that kind of interpretation, the economy is not doing well. But again, I'm not an economist.
Okay. So let's move to politics a bit. The House of Representatives, the legislative branch of Liberian government makes the law. You have been one person actually fighting and presenting different kinds of platforms so that you can be given the opportunity to go and serve the Liberian people. What is that different ideas you have from the others who have been out there serving as senators and representatives that you want to carry so that the minds and the environment or the economy of this country and whatever you want to describe it can change?
Thank you, Methuselah. And some of the things that I've just expressed here, for some strange reason, I say strange because even growing up, that was my mindset. My friends from middle school, from high school, 9th grade, they say, Edith, we always knew that you will end up being a politician because you always talk about why this is not happening, why that is not happening as a young kid. So some of the reasons that I've been fighting over the years is because of that sense of nationalism and patriotism that is innate to me, is embedded in me. It's something that maybe I was born with, God just put it in me to care more for others than I care for myself. And then I've always questioned why this is happening, even as a teenager. How many teenagers go around thinking about why government not doing this, why government not doing that? But again, so it's natural to me. The reason I've been fighting to go in the Senate is because I want to show a different kind of senatorial leadership to my people. What it means to represent your people, what it means to be their mouthpiece, to be their advocate. That means that you have to look at what should be that is not, and how to make that happen. And what should be that is not, I talk a little bit about education here. So how do we provide affordable education, primary education, to our citizens, our school-going children, using government policies, using government programs, and making sure that, for instance, the education ministry as an entity of government is held to account by the very Senate using its oversight. So if we say free education and we know that fees are being charged and our citizens are complaining and telling us the kids are not in school, what stops the senators from holding that a branch, that not the branch but that sector of the government, the educational sector, the head? Please explain to us. We keep hearing that people are paying fees. Why? When there should be free primary education. So what happens when parents are not sending their children to school? What has the executive done to ensure that parents are under duty to send their kids to school? So these are some of the things that, as a policy, I have been fighting to go in the Senate and be the eyes and the ears of the citizens of Liberia, not just Nimba. Because decisions that are made in the Senate impact the entire country. It doesn't just impact your little enclave called county. So if I go to hold the education ministry accountable and make sure that that situation is resolved, that we have our eyes out there, our constituents are telling us what is happening, and we are taking action to make sure that situation is reversed or is corrected, then I'm working for the Liberian people. And by that, if this educational sector is improved, it's not just for Nimba, it's for Rivercess, it's for Bapulu, it's for Bong, it's for every county, because I've held the sector responsible. Same with agriculture. I've talked a lot about agriculture, and it's something that I'm not an agriculturist. Trust me, I even know how to make farm. But I just believe that if we go to the soil, we can make a difference. So in my way, even in my yard in Ganta right now, the flowers, I say I can't plant flower that I can't eat. So my flower then are cabbage, that collard greens, that potato greens, that flower sauce. I planted along the fence, pineapple, all in my yard, pawpaw, coconut, on just 2 lots. The rest of it, the children can be, oh man, they 1 year, I know that spotted house will come and live in you. Yes, I say because I want when I wake up in the morning, I say, you cook dry rice, you go pick bitter balls, you pick pepper, you pick this, and then we just cook the rest. So agriculture can be a bedrock of any country. And I believe that if I were to be elected senator of Nimba, in any of the elections I've participated in, Nimba being a highly agriculturally productive county, our county is one of the bread baskets of Liberia. Before the war, it was Lofa, Bong, and Nimba. These were the 3 bread basket counties of Liberia that provide and produce the food for everybody. So if I were to be elected senator, what I've been fighting for is to make sure that there is some sort of subsidies for farmers as a pull factor, as an incentive to encourage more people to go into the agriculture sector. And of course, there will be standards set. We make the law in a programmatic way. When it's passed, we work with the executive to make sure it is enforced in ways that it becomes productive. So when you say you're subsidizing farmers, there has to be, a standard set. That what kind of farmers are we talking about, or what level of farmer. Now when you go brush one little small lot, and you a half lot, and you say you plant cassava, you plant pepper, then you say you farmer, and so you must be subsidized. No. So there has to be standard, because we want to encourage massive food production. The other thing is, we can avoid mechanization. We can't keep farming with cutlasses and hoes and shovels and think that we're going to feed ourselves. We can avoid mechanization. To mechanize farming, we use government subsidies now to bring in farming equipment. So you're talking about the tractors, you're talking about weeders, and something to plow the farm. They got equipment. These days China makes it so easy. So China, that has more than I don't know how many billion human beings, if they can feed themselves, then why we can't? If India, with over 1 billion population, if they can feed themselves, why can't we? Technology has improved. So to do that, one of my legislative agenda has been, like the Bible says, for lack of knowledge, my people perish. So we send our young folks to learn these technologies, right? And then we also invite people. We develop, for instance, the Liberia School of Sciences, or School of Agricultural Science, or whatever. So then they come and train. And so we have soil scientists who are testing our soil to know what kind of crop will grow better here. So it's not every crop that will grow better on the soil in Rivercess. But because we have no knowledge, we're doing the try and error. But maybe rice might not be good for Rivercess. Maybe Rivercess will be good for yam. I'm just giving an example. I don't know. And so we segment the country into where certain things are productive on mass level. In that way, the country will have sufficient food of all kinds that we can eat. Say our people here that Fufu and Domo, we make large cassava farms and do different, aspects of cassava production. The fufu, the farina, and the dry cassava, the dry cassava dust, all that kind of thing. Then we got to buy it. So yes, those are some of the agenda that I have had that have kept me on the road. But you know what? It has not ended. I'm still in the political space. I don't know what the future has. But what I do know is that I'm still in the political space. Go ahead.
Whether you were going to end your political career from the last election.
No. In fact, the last election, what I saw in the last election, the way the government nationalized what should have been a local election, it has further invigorated me and emboldened me to believe now that what I have and the skills that I have must not be quenched. And so, no, my political career has not ended. In fact, it has begun.
Okay. So let's open the telephone line. We'll come to other questions, but let's open the telephone line to have conversation with the citizens. 0777-844-993, 0777-844-993, 0770-436-580. If you have questions, comment, concern, you can call Madam Edith Gonglo-Wleh. She's here in studio this morning. She will respond to all of your concerns and questions, comment, anything. So the numbers are, the phone lines are open. You can call. Let's hear from you. Let me take you to the last elections, because Rivercess, we followed our elections from start to end. Not just because of the connection, but that was the only electoral process in the country. So, and seeing Nimai to be one of the biggest county, so the concern of the citizens were actually into the elections. The elections, there were allegations of tribalism. Did you notice that?
Well, of course, to answer your question, yes. And sadly, um, our election was tribalized by people from up. Not that
People
tribal.
from up, what do you mean by?
Yeah, because and people don't like for me to say it, but the facts are the facts. You can't avoid the facts. Unfortunately, our honorable vice president, who happens to be a citizen of Nimba and the most senior government official from Nimba, while it is true that he is the vice president of the Republic of Liberia, he is a citizen of Nimba, and so he coined what they call balancing the tribe, and he came with this tribal rhetoric which has never been heard anywhere in our political dispensation. Nowhere.
You were accused of
That
preaching that in the past.
it is damn people time, it doesn't man people time. If they say I said that, let them bring the clip. I can bring you a plethora of clips from the internet where everybody, in fact, on the social media, it overtook the social media. And we have to balance it. This is the first time we heard even that phrase, balance the Senate. It's never been said. If it has, not on the scale that it was said, nobody will produce a clip of Edith Gonglo-Wleh on radio saying that man on people time. Nobody. I challenge them. I challenge anybody to come with a radio recording that says Edith Gonglo-Wleh in 2020 or 2017 or 20 days, she said that man on people time. I have said time without number that political power is a very strong force on planet Earth. Tribalism is also another very strong force on planet Earth. If you combine the two, it becomes lethal. It becomes deadly. If you mix politics with tribalism, it's dangerous. We've seen it play even here in Liberia that culminated into the 14 years of war that we slaughter each other. It became a tribal war, right? In this country. So when something as devastating as tribalizing a political affair or political activity, if we know that it's so deadly and we have that mark on us, we have to distance ourselves from it. Rwanda had similar thing when they brought tribalism into the political discourse. There were two major tribes in Rwanda. They slaughtered each other, but they were more slaughtered by the Hutus. The Hutus slaughtered the Tutsi. Today in Rwanda, they've learned that lesson from the 90s. I think it was 94. They've learned that lesson and said to themselves, no more will we mix tribe with politics and political leadership. So when you go to Rwanda today as a maybe a tourist or student, you get in taxi, you're a visitor, and you ask the driver, are you a Hutu or you're a Tutsi? They will frown and tell you, I'm a Rwandan. Because they know now that dividing themselves along tribal lines has caused serious, so they learn that hard lesson. We have also had that lesson in Liberia, where tribalism caused an uproar and an outburst that resulted into 14 years of Liberia being produced into a slaughterhouse. And we still haven't learned that lesson to say, you know what? We know what mixing tribalism with politics can do. So yes, to answer your short question, the election sadly was tribalized. Not that tribalism didn't exist in Nimba, not that tribalism is not in other counties, but to bring it to the public space the way it was done. I think this is where the problem was. There have been whispers. People will say, oh, you know, the person Amano people didn't do this, or the Gyopo didn't do this, or the Madingo people. but it has never taken center stage the way it did in this current election, and this is troubling.
What's about the rule of law in this country? Because there were people who violated the code of conduct and endorsed Kennedy during the elections, and today you're not hearing anything about prosecution or being investigated by those authority responsible.
So Methuselahs, and you're right. People make laws in this country and they don't respect it. We make laws and we say that's the law, but the law only applies to poor people who have no connection. And it's sad. Law should not be selective. The rule of law should not be a selective game. But on a broader level, it's very selective in Liberia. If there was some poor man that working at a lower level and if that was not the interest of the government, it would take action. I tell you what, the vice president used vice presidential motorcade, using vice presidential fuel, using vice presidential security to run campaign. Ministers were running campaign in their ministerial cars. Directors were doing that on radio and on the social media, everywhere. It was like a siege. They besieged Nimba with everything. Nothing happened. 2 days ago, I got called by one of my supporters who were just supporting me and went to a town and were telling his town people, oh, this is our candidate, you know, her children from here and all that. You all should vote for her. The news got back in the office. The mayor is a technocrat. He is a registered nurse. Methuselahs, he has been suspended. They say because he ran campaign. He ran campaign. He ain't go on radio. He used his office materials. He just went in his town and told his town people, they woman, yes, she a good woman, love, vote for her. And the news got back to the health I
don't know what
the county health team.
Okay.
They say, oh, they man, you are running campaign in your town, so you suspended without pay for 1 month. A nurse. Another one, a teacher, another supporter of mine, who had taken sick leave because he got eye problem. He, you know, like cataract, he needs surgery. He wrote and they gave him, I think 7 or 8 months to go for treatment. He's still trying to raise money to go to Ghana or somewhere to do the surgery because it's pretty bad. They took his knee from on payroll. He started checking, but why my knee is not on payroll? He been taking his pay up to that time because legally he asked for leave. He was granted in writing. Then somebody came to him, my man, you know why they just told you need your money here, but they holding it, they don't want to give it to you because they say he was supporting Madam Edith Gonglo-Wleh. So the tons, plenty, all over. People have lost their lives because they supported me. People have been threatening their jobs because they supported me. Yet, so you see the hypocrisy. The government operatives that are punishing people is the very government that will broadly, without any remorse, no consideration of the rule of law and the code of conduct, was all up and about a country. One that applies for the non-connected individuals, people who are not connected to big names, and that law only applies to them. And then those who are connected to the power that be, they are lawless. That law does not apply to them. They can do anything and nothing happens. We don't speak about it because who are we going to? If you pick up issue with it, that the government will go complain to, that the government that committed the act is the government that violated the very code of conduct, that the government that controls everything. So you will go complain to the government. And then the government is the government is the accused, the judge,
and everything.
the jury. So will you get fair judgment? So it reaches a point where some of us just said, it's not worth it.
Okay. We have 6 minutes to go. If you're listening, call us on 0777 844 993 0777 844. Questions, comment, concern. The madam is here. She will respond to that. One thing I want you to clarify before we.
Let me just say this before I clarify whatever question you have. But you know, like I've said to my people in Nimba, and hopefully, I'm sure there are some citizens of Nimba here in Rivercess, and I want to say hi to all of them. As bad as things were during the election, we still believe that Nimba County as a county, we have the potential that the election is over to put all of that behind us and make it a learning curve that hopefully we learn from this, and then we say, given what has happened, let this not happen again, but let's bring our citizens together. Because Methuselahs have always said that a house divided against itself will fall. Then the Bible says that. So unity is the key for progress. And so I'm not bitter, I'm not angry, I'm happy that I have learned something new. Every election cycle, I learned something. Like all of us, as long as you're living, you will keep learning until God calls you. Okay. Even a 95-year-old, 99-year-old person can learn something new. And so let's use lesson learned and see how we can trash the bad ones and build up on the good ones going forward. And bring our county and our country together. Liberia needs to unite, because if I see you as a Bassa man and not as a Liberian, and I see somebody as a Crown man and not as a Liberian, a Gyo man, a Mano man, a Vi man, and not as a Liberian, it sounds difficult, but it's doable until we can begin to minimize the recognition of tribe and maximize the recognition and the identification of us as Liberians. We're still going to struggle. And quickly, I had an experience that I always like to tell people. This happened way in 2010. I had the opportunity to travel for an international conference to Thailand, Bangkok. I was there for a week. And a old Thai professor came to me and said, what country are you from? Because there were not that many Africans at that, global anti-corruption conference. He said, what country are you from? I said, Liberia. Oh, where is it? I described what Liberia is, blah, blah, blah. And then he said, so what's your major language? And I was struggling to say, what our national language? I said, well, our national language is a version of the English language that only Liberians understand and we can speak. It's pidgin English, but we call it the Liberian English. And you know what that Thai professor told me? He said, that tells me that this is a country that only, submit or respect their little tribe. When you have so many tribes and no national identity, you don't have a language that identifies you. Everybody is divided along tribal line. So it's very underdeveloped. I believe you don't even have good road networks. You don't have good educational system. You don't have this. I mean, the mayor just started talking about Liberia's underdevelopment that you were caught in sin. Because by my answer, it showed to him that we are a fragmented country. And when you are fragmented, you are divided along that fragmentation. That was a hard lesson for me. Knowing that, I urge every Liberian, let's respect all of us as Liberians and come together and not divide along tribal lines.
Okay. Because of time, let me just read the comments from our Facebook Live, and we ended this morning. Aaron Jesus said, I'm following live from the Kano. Chris Jambla said, I'm following. And Weird said, that's great, I'm following. And Eric Johnson says, thanks for the conversation. I'm following from We Nation District number 3, Grand Bassa County. And Jerome GP says, I'm following from Maserado. And a Mose called Senkwe says, I'm following from Ikano, Rivercess County. And Ogashi Gay, Ogashi Togage says, I'm following from Cestos City, Fantintan community. Philip Tobe says, following life. One thing that really giving us serious hard time about getting female into elected position is the women doesn't create law for one another. And this idea is totally wrong because we men will be willing to help them and their friends female will be against greatly. So we all need to study the course. And now lastly, Mark P says, welcome to Rivercess, Madam Edith Gonglo-Wleh. So that's it this morning from the comment section.
Thank you.
You can wrap it up quickly in 1 minute so that we can.
So I just want to say thank you so much for having me, and I'm here today, and I want to say to the citizens of Rivercess, especially the young people, the women, and I will, like, what happened?
The phone is really insert sim.
Okay.
Yeah, so yeah, go ahead.
So I just want to say to all of you, it's good to come together and then work for the betterment of Rivercess and for the betterment of our country. I'm here. I am one of you. I'm your in-law, but I'm also a citizen of Liberia, and I'm interested in the progress of every part of Liberia. So my phone number is going to be here. If you form yourself into groups, I'll be willing to work with you people in my little meager way that I can. My husband loves his people. Amazing way say your hello. I spoke with him this morning. I say I'm going to be going on the radio sphere. He say yes, tell my people hello. He's willing to work with the young people, but he wants to see that passion. So my husband and myself are willing to work with you in whatever area to see that the lives of Rivercess people can, improve, and by extension, Liberia. Thank you so much for having me this morning.
Okay, thank you, Madam Gonglo. Sorry, let me sincerely apologize to our caller.